Bruce with FitStrength Performance, and today I am going to talk about why practice is not helping you become a better athlete. So, why am I saying this? I'm going to preface this word of practice and then athlete and really highlight the differences and what I mean. And, I really want to get across that, I do value practice. I was a collegiate basketball player. I played at a high school. We played at a pretty high level. So practice is important. But again, I'm going to reflect on my experiences. I'm going to reflect on some of the sciences, what I've noticed lately, and those of you listening, whether you agree or disagree, these are just thoughts and insights as far as my 10-year experience of being a strength coach, as well as my time being an athlete, playing in high school, middle school, college, and trying to play at the pro level. So in my time, in my career, I've logged 10,000 plus hours of practice time. So what do I mean by practice? I mean being on the court with a team and, running through sets, running through plays, doing different drills, that hour and a half to 2 hour practice, where we're working on that team tactile approach to win a game. And obviously there are some individual skills there as well, but on a team in a team practice, you know, 80 to 90% of it is team oriented. How do you win as a team? How do you play to your strengths and weaknesses? The next, I've put in about over 10,000 hours of skill work. If I can recall back from when I started at 7 or 8 years old, all the way up until 26 is when I really stopped training at a high level on the court. I still do some skills training on my own now at 32. Um, but skills training is that hour to hour and a half session working on you, myself working on, better ball handling, better tactile moves off screens, pick and rolls, coming off screen, shooting, pull-ups, different shot variations. So that's what I mean by that skills development. And then I've played, well over 1,500 games, maybe more. If I reflect back to when I was 8 years old, and we probably played, I don't know, 50 to 75 games per year, and then high school, probably the same amount with AAU, probably more, because we played 25-ish games during the high school season, and then probably another 30 to 50 games during AAU, and then college too. But the older I got, the less I played because there was no AAU, and that would include pickup too. Um, and then 5,000 hours have been spent in the weight room, on the turf, doing things to make you a better athlete. And that's another piece that I want to identify. When we talk about being a better basketball player and then being a better athlete, those are two different things, right? When I work with athletes in the weight room, I'm trying to help the athlete be a better athlete. So when they go to their sport, their skills coach, their coach can help them be a better sport player, better basketball player, volleyball player. Because I think those are two different beasts. If you're someone that says, we're going to go into the weight room and I'm going to make you a better basketball player in the weight room, but you don't ever touch a basketball or you don't ever work on, defensive movements or things that you will definitely do on the basketball court, I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that. However, with the footwork, with change of direction, yes, that'll influence you when you're on the court. So there is a little bit of a blend, but my goal isn't to take a kid who likes basketball and train them for an hour in the weight room, and then when they go out to the basketball court, they're going to shoot better. They're going to, move off of pick and rolls better. Their footwork might be better, but they have to put in the work as far as the skill development to be able to slip a screen, to be able to, wrist roll crossover, pull up, stop on a dime, and get the ball over to the fender, or read the offensive player and get in the best position to deflect the pass, to rip them, to block the shot, whatever it might be. Um, so for as far as practice goes, I do think it has a ton of benefits, right? If you play on a team, practice is going to help the team camaraderie. Practice is going to give you reps in sets and plays. Practice is going to, help kids learn how to win as a team. It's non-disruptive court time. That's probably one of the hardest things nowadays for kids to get. find court time where there isn't another kid who's just messing around, where it's just you or a group of kids trying to get better. So again, practice does have its benefits, and it needs to occur without a doubt. Um, that means that, the mentality could shift a little bit, but it's one of those things where you need to practice. So, I reflect more on the off-season work when we're not in season, the high school season, the college season. That's my idea of trying to get away from practice. So if I could go backwards, if I think of my success as an athlete and also my lack of success, I reflect and I'm curious as far as, why didn't I get a D2 or D1 offer? Why did I have the confidence to try to walk onto a D1 team? Why wasn't I, dunking consistently because I put in a lot of work? Why wasn't I as confident on the court trying to work on those ball handling skills that I did so much by myself? Or why wasn't I confident to catch the ball and just let it fire from 26 feet or, rip to a pull up? So I reflect on that. And I do think what I did in far as my development played a huge role. So this is what I would do going backwards. If I could go backwards, I would take 5,000 hours of that practice time and take it away. I would add in 2,500 hours with pickup ball, as well as 2,500 more hours of time in the weight room and time, on the turf, working on speed, change of direction, and things like that. So why do I say that? Well, if I limited my practice time, the AAU practices, and I focused on getting out of my comfort zone, going to other places to play pickup, I think I would have been more confident in my ability. Because when I would, for the longest time when I played AAU, it was with my town friends. It was with the friends that I grew up with. And, that helped. Excuse me. That helped us during the season without a doubt because, my team was very talented. We had a great bond, great connections. So when we got to our season, we've been playing with each other. So, it helped us a ton. So what I say as far as limiting the 2,500 hours and adding it into pickup, I'll backtrack. So with our team, we played a lot together all year, from our AAU all the way up to the season. And then it was so comfortable. We would play pickup together. We would play on our team. We would practice together. AAU. We would go to our games together. We knew everyone. We knew if we wanted to win, this is what we had to do. As far as my personal development goes, I think that almost crushed me because everyone knew what I was good at. I knew what everyone else was good at. So if someone was a better shooter, well, I wanted them to get the ball instead of me developing my ability to shoot. So that's where I think if I played more pickup, outside of my comfort zone. We played a lot of pickup where I grew up, but again, we played once or twice a week. Then we had our skills workout. Then we played pickup a little bit afterwards. But I remember my dad took me to, the Boys and Girls Club to play, and I was nervous. I was uncomfortable, and I think if I would have embraced that and went there more often, that would have helped my game because I was playing against kids that were far better than me from a skill standpoint. I do think I had a lot of benefit as far as how to play the game versus individual ability. But I think if I would have spent time playing pickup with other kids in other towns, I think that would have helped me because it would have gave me confidence to do what what my potential allowed me to do. Because when I got older, after college, I would do skills workout and then I would go play pickup every day. And that helped me a ton because it just let me realize like, oh man, I can shoot. Oh, I can take these guys off the dribble. Oh, I can do X, Y, and Z because I was allowing pickup to help me be free, help me be comfortable, help me flow. So I think pickup is very valuable because practice is controlled. The coach says we're doing shell drill. The coach says, all right, we're doing, our fast break North Carolina drill, or we're going to run this set and we have to try to score off this set when the defense knows where the back doors are. So you teach your reads and reacts, but it's controlled. Pickup, you're going, you're flowing. You got to figure it out. You can check up and run a set one time, but then you're just rolling. There is no control, there's no coach. So as far as that, I think a few things that benefit when you're playing pickup in a uncomfortable environment, when there's no whistle, there's no coaches, the kids are making the rules, the kids are calling fouls, you learn how to, have conflict resolution, right? If you don't agree, you just figure it out. You either can choose to fight and then the game's over with. You can choose to communicate and figure out, all right, just take the ball, check up, whatever. Or you can just figure a different way to resolve that conflict. You develop confidence when you're playing pickup and it's out of everyone's control. Your dad's not the coach blowing the whistle. Your neighbor's dad isn't the coach. You're not with your best friends where you feel comfortable. So you gain confidence. And then the next piece is going to be flow. You can just flow with different people. You can learn different tactile ways to score. You have different personalities, so you got to learn how to mesh with different people. And the same thing goes when you play another sport. So I wish I played more soccer growing up. That's another piece of the puzzle. So next, why would I add in 2,500 hours of like turf and weight room time? Well, I'm someone that spent a lot of time in the weight room. But I didn't start till like ninth grade. My dad had me doing some stuff that was definitely beneficial, that was more advanced than what my friends were doing, my teammates were doing. So I think once I started gravitating towards weights, I had a good base. But I wish I started in when I was 8 or 9, working on change of direction, working on, the things that I do with my athletes, open the hips, these crossover steps, these hip turns, learning how to crawl, learning how to flow. That's something that I never did. I never crawled. I never did bear crawls. I never rolled. I didn't do stuff like that. So I think that would have put me ahead at an earlier age. If I started in ninth grade, with strength training, what if I started in seventh grade, right? I'd be 2 years ahead in ninth grade. So I think that I caught up, but the one thing I never did is I never worked with a strength and conditioning coach. I was doing bodybuilding workouts up until, I was 20, 19 years old. We had some good strength coaches at Hobart, but still, when I went home and just did the workout that was given to me, I did the things that I liked. If I didn't want to squat, I didn't squat. But if I worked with a strength and conditioning coach who programmed for me and I went to their session, shoot, I would have squatted. I would have deadlifted. I would have worked on unilateral movements, single leg RDLs. I had an innate for movement so I could grasp things, but I didn't do the things that I do now, that I have my athletes master now, when I was growing up. So I wish I would have spent 2,500 more hours working on that, because I think it would have separated me athletically. Because I was able to dunk, but for some reason I never really tried in high school. But I think if I did some turf work, skipping, hopping, crawling, power skips, sprinting, my high school was a little advanced. We would do these things on Saturdays for 90 to 2 hours, just working on chasing each other down, Indian runs, conditioning, just having fun. So we did a lot of that stuff, but I don't think I did enough of it to reach the level I could have reached. And I think the two things, if I started when I was 8 and worked on those basic fundamental movement skills, 8, 9, 10, and 11, had that solid base, and then 12, 13, 14 worked on the primal patterns of movement, squat, hinge, push, pull, rotary stability, working on footwork, working on mobility, flow in the ankles and the hips. And then ninth to 12th grade, then built that great foundation from an athletic standpoint, I think I would have been, a much better athlete, less injury prone, more confident. So I think that I know that's where I wound up taking it, because when I was 18, right, it was all bodybuilding workouts, bench press, high volume. But if I would have had that program, those progressions, that early starting point, well, I know I could have advanced my performance when I got to the 18, 19, 20, 21 years of age. And, I could have been a rim rocker. I think I had that potential. I could have been much better on the defensive side, even though that was what I was known for. But again, I tore my meniscus my senior year of high school playing baseball. So if I would have had, more stability, better foot functioning, I wouldn't have gotten that quad strain before my knee issue. I wouldn't have torn my meniscus, and who knows? I would have missed out on almost 6 months of preparation time for college and built just, habits of let's get the upper body going. So that's why I would have shifted to that 2,500 hours. So overall, why do I think, practice isn't helping players become better athletes? Well, the one thing that athletes are missing out when they're practicing all the time, because this is a different age. I've worked with many kids who they're on 2 or 3 AAU teams. Even during the season, they're on an AAU team. So they practice 6 days a week on their in-season team. Then they go to AAU practice once or twice a week, and a lot of the younger kids will go to tournaments on the weekends, and they do that all year round. And then once their season ends, they just go to the next AAU practice. And if they're on 2 teams, they practice 3 to 4 times a week. They go on tournaments and they play the games all weekend. So that means that they're missing out on this athletic development, because practice is going to help a player be a better basketball, volleyball, lacrosse, baseball, football player. Working on athletic movements helps the person be a better athlete. So if you become a better athlete and then work on the skill, or if you're already really skilled and work on being a better athlete and blend the two, that's where you're going to get the potential that you want. So again, practice is valuable, don't get me wrong, but I do think we can pull back the onion. We can figure out what does that athlete need and try to shift their yearly calendar. Because when you are doing these things of becoming a better athlete, when you are limiting, your time on the court, you're allowing your joints, you're allowing your movements to heal, your body to heal. So that's my conversation. That, again, what do we talk about today? We talked about why practice may not be helping, you know, kids be better athletes. And please remember, practice is important, but again, athletic development is also important too. So thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe to this, and I hope this helps.